Folks, this is Eric with OzoneTCG. Today we're taking a look at a Mathmech deck profile post Power of the Elements. We're going to showcase the actual deck here and then go over some of the basic 1 and 2 card combos featuring the new Mathmech Circular. This card debuts in Power of the Elements and is insane. Seriously, this card is basically a better Salomon grade for this deck. Let's take a look at it and go ahead and go over this deck profile and kind of how this deck plays. You can send a Mathmech monster from your deck to the graveyard except itself, special summon this card from the hand. Also, you can only attack with one monster for the rest of this turn, so turn 1 that doesn't even matter. If another Mathmech monster is normal or special summon to your field while you control this monster, and except during the damage step, you can add a Mathmech spell or trap from your deck to your hand. You can only use each effect once per turn. This card single-handedly makes Mathmech relevant. Even if something like Adventure or Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer are still in the game, this deck is still incredible. The fact that this card sends a Mathmech monster for cost means we inherently have a 1-card combo with Circular, dumping our next card Mathmech Sigma if you control the monsters in the extra monster zone while this card is in your hand or graveyard. You can special summon it, banish it, leave the field. Also, you cannot special summon monsters from the extra except Cyber's monsters for the rest of the turn, of course. Then you can use it as a non-tuner for Synchro summon of a Mathmech monster. Not super relevant in this deck because we don't play Synchros. This is probably the #1 card you mill off of Circular, depending on your hand, of course. But for a lot of the 1 and 2 card combos, you're going to just play Circular, milling Sigma, and Sigma summons itself to the field, and you summon your Mathmech Alimbertion, and then immediately triggers its effect to add a Mathmech card, and that Mathmech card is usually going to be Mathmech Diameter. This card came out in Rise of the Duelist, another reason why that card, why that set is absolutely insane. When it's normal summoned, you can target a level 4 Cyber's monster here or special summon it, but it cannot activate its effects. A Mathmech monster that was Synchro or Xyz summoned using this card on the field as material gains the following effect. Once per turn during the turn this card was special summoned, when your opponent activates a card or effect as a quick effect, you can negate that effect. You can only use each effect once per turn. This card combos with your Alimbertion to go ahead and let you negate stuff like Veiler, Ash, Impermanence, Nibiru, Ghost Ogre, anything like that. You can just negate it for free. And that is a once per turn clause, but you can do it during your opponent's turn too with one of the cards we will feature later. This card was insane for support, and Circular clearly was made in mind. These two combo together, if you draw both or draw like Silent Mining plus Circular, one or the other, is your full combo. And really just Circular by itself is your combo because it does get you to Diameter. You do detach Circular and Sigma from Alimbertion, and then normal summon Diameter. So this actually doesn't use your normal summon whatsoever, that 1-card combo. It gets you your 3 materials for Super Factorial. Yeah, these cards are busted beyond belief. I don't know what they were thinking. This is actually a custom card, ignoring the dueling book text, of course, but this is a custom card for the deck. You definitely want to pick this up once Power of the Elements out in the TCG. Next we have the Extenders, which is Mathmech Addition and Subtraction and Parallel Exceed. They kind of all do similar things. Addition and Subtraction, depending on which one it is. If it's Addition, you target a monster, increase attack by 1,000, special from the hand. Subtraction, target a monster in the field, decrease attack by 1,000, special from the hand. These two effectively do the exact same thing. You just play them for the names, and really that's it. They are both non-tuners. Your tuners are going to be Sigma and Diameter. Yeah, they are just, they're just good extenders. You want to special summon all your monsters from the hand. You can play something like Nabla, which special summons a Mathmech from the deck that is viable too. However, we're not playing it in this list. If you want to cut a card, you can. But for right now, I don't think the card's absolutely needed. But it is an option, of course. And then Parallel Exceed, of course, turns itself to a level 4. It's a level 4 Cyberse Extender. All your monsters are Cyberse. It is a Cyberse monster. Can be used for your Cyberse monsters that require Cyberse material to link summon. Yeah, this card is a no-brainer. Absolutely insane. You're going to trigger its effect every single time that you can search it, or rather summon it. Theoretically, it is searchable by Alimbertion. Excuse me, it is a level 4 lower, but you're still able to summon it just for free. You might as well play it anyway. And then we have Microcoder because we do play the 1 Signet Conflict, and this is kind of a Heat Soul Turbo deck. Turn 1 you just want to be summoning Heat Soul as well as having your Super Factorial and Signet Conflict. Those together is pretty much optimal. You're going to get a draw during your turn, so it's a 2-card combo to get Heat Soul out plus Super Factorial. So you draw a card that's an extra card in your hand. You'll have 4 cards in your hand, and then draw face your opponent's turn, use Heat Soul's effect again, so you got 5. You replenish your hand, get a +3 just off of those 2 cards. With extenders, anything like that, your opponent's probably not winning from that, especially because Silent Conflict is one of the most busted counter trap cards in the game that's searchable. We'll go ahead and go over it in just a second, but first we have Signet Mining. Of course, Microcoder can actually search this too because it is a Signet spell or trap. This is good because, again, all your extenders, bar, parallel, exceed at level 4 or lower. You definitely no brainer to play at 3. Really good Ash bait too. They can't Ash Circular, but they can Ash your Alimbertion, which sometimes will hurt. But more often than not, if you use Signet Mining first, they're going to try and Ash that because you would otherwise go -1 for it. And then Equation, this is an in-theme monster reborn. You don't have to play this card, but I think it's like good enough to play just at 1 because, again, it's searchable by Circular, because Circular specials itself, then Sigma specials itself, and trigger Circular, or you can save your Circular for later, kind of play through Nibiru that way. But yeah, Equation is fine, and it's okay if you draw it too. Again, you just need 1 because you can only activate 1 per turn anyway. And then this is the Tri-Brigade Revolt of the deck. This card came out before Revolt, but this really is the card you want to play. Also feels a little bit like Teller Knights. Again, feels like Tri-Brigade. Feels kind of like Medolce too. Kind of all 3 mixed together, all like mid-rangey play styles. Just draw a bunch of cards turn 1 and kill your opponent turn 2. You can target up to 3 Mathmech monsters in your graveyard with different names, then activate one of these effects. Special summon them. Effects are negated immediately after resolve, Synchro Summon, or Exceed Summon. So the number 1 card you want to summon is Mathmech Laplation, because it requires level 3. It's like a fake Trishula, and you get to choose. So if you can't do all of these effects, that's okay. You can skip over them. If your opponent doesn't have any cards in their hand, for example, you can just skip over that, but still use the other effects, send a monster or send a spell or trap. You don't have to resolve all 3. You can resolve just 1. It's really nice. This is what you summon off of Super Factorial, and then Diameter will, of course, give that Laplation a negate. So again, they really can't negate unless it's something like Droplets. We can still play around in Droplets, though, with the next card, Silent Conflict. Spell or trap card or monster effects activated will control a Code Talker. Decode Talker, Heat Soul, of course, is a Code Talker. Really good card to have. Even Code Talker by itself, just the link to, is good enough. You can negate the activation. If you do, banish that card. If you do, your opponent cannot activate cards or effects of cards with the same original name as that card that's banished until the end of the next turn. So, right, Avera Nasir, Branded Fusion, anything like that, gone. They're dead. Can't use them. Prank Kids Monsters, Wandering Griffin Rider, anything like that, can't use them at all. And that's not even just special ones only, it's any monster effect or spell or trap cards. Can't negate spell or trap effects, but that's okay. There aren't too many running around, but this card's absolutely crazy. You can only activate once per turn, which I would certainly hope so. This card would be insane if you could activate multiple. It's insane right now as it is. Again, searchable off of Microcoder. Basically, just sit on this, Heat Soul, and Super Factorial, and a bunch of hand traps. That is the deck. It's really fun to play, though, because there is a high skill ceiling. There's a lot of ways to build this deck, and this is just one of the ways. I think this is a really good way to start playing the deck, because a lot of people kind of get this deck wrong. You don't have to play all the Mathmech cards, because some of them are just not good. And that's okay. You don't have to play all the cards, in a theme. And then, of course, we have your generics. We have the 1 Pot of Desires. Wish we could play this at 3 because mostly play multiples anyway, besides your Silent Conflict and Equation. Equation, of course, doesn't really matter. You can cut this card if you want to, if you don't like Desires for whatever reason. It's a free draw. Again, more Ash bait, just so your Alimbertion resolves. And then, of course, your 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Valor, double Ogre, double Bell, and double Nibiru. Bell could be like DD Crow or something else like that. Good idea to also probably play Crossout if you wanted to. I think Crossout is good enough to play right now, since we're playing all the main hand traps anyway, to go ahead and main and bump up that count, and that's okay, because all your cards kind of do the same thing. If you draw something like, I don't know, Subtraction, Addition, and Parallel Exceed together, that's still your full combo, because getting to Alimbertion is going to be the main thing. You want to get that card as soon as possible, because it gets to all your spells and traps, and really just Super Factorial, main thing. If you can make your Heat Soul, cool, even better. But this is a Heat Soul deck. You want to just turbo that card turn 1, turn 2, just focus on killing your opponent. We're gonna go ahead and go to the extra deck right now and take a look. You'll see a lot of the Cybers cards from Ignister lists in here. Cybers has always just supported other Cybers themes. They're all basically the same thing with Vrains. It's what they intend to do with Cybers. Very clearly is just to make all the Cybers work together. So we have the double Alimbertion, double Laplation. You do need to play at least 2 of these. You're going to summon definitely Alimbertion, two of them per game. at least. You just have to. It also has the random effect to tribute a monster, which can include itself, especially a level 4 lower Mathmech monster from your hand or graveyard. I don't know why it has the effect. It didn't need to, but it's a really good extender. You can also go like Mill Nabla if we played that. Tribute itself, tribute Allen versions for its effect, summon Nabla, and then summon anything from your deck by tributing Nabla. Yeah, really good card, really good card to add. Crazy that it can just negate something like Nibiru Veiler, so it has self-protection if you use diameter with it. Yeah, you need to have at least 2 of these. It was reprinted in Maximum Gold Eldorado, so pick these up in gold if you need to. They're really, really cheap. If you want secrets, cool. The card's always going to be expensive because of Mystic Fighters, but yeah, you want to be playing at least 2 of these. Same with Loplation. You don't really resolve it twice, but you do want to have the second one just in case the first somehow gets negated or interrupted. And going second, you will summon this just to clear your opponent's board, because they kind of have to answer this, or at worst, you summon it during your turn, your first turn going second, and then on your opponent's turn, their third turn going when you go second too. But otherwise, sometimes you'll summon this, twice if you go first, and that's okay. We just need to play at least 2 though, because it is just so strong. It is its own Trishula. So next up we have Link Devotee and Link Disciple. If you guys are familiar with the Cyber Sketch Eldritch deck, this is the engine. You don't have to play these cards. I mean, they're really good in their own rights, but you don't always have to turbo them. They are not part of your standard combo other than Link Disciple because it points downwards. That's basically it. You don't need to have the tokens to do anything. You can, of course. There's absolutely nothing wrong with doing that, because some of the combos will just play Link Disciple Devotee combo. But yeah, these cards are just good because again, they take all level 4 lower cyber sponsors, and Parallel Exceed will become one with and special summon by its own effect. So basically, all of your cyber sponsors can make Link Disciple and Link Devotee. They take the same materials. Then Cyber's Wicked. A lot of people don't read this card. This card is insane. It searches your diameter. It searches Sigma. I don't know. Protects your cards. It protects itself from destruction by battle or card effects. You gotta play this card. It's cheap too. It's also just insanely strong. You can create kind of a pseudo lock with IP Masquerena. Plus, if you want to play something like Mekk-Knight Crusadia Avermax, and instead of something like Axis Code Talker, you absolutely could. Cyber's Wicked plus Avermax protected by IP creates a really hard to break lock unless they're playing like Mirror Jade. That's one of the only locks. If you have something like, I don't know, Signet Conflict. Hey, cool. They can't activate that effect anyway if you negate it. Yeah, really, really strong Link 2. Probably one of the best Cyber Link 2s printed, and that's saying a lot. There are a bunch of really good Cyber Link monsters. Then we have Splash Mage. This card is just crack cocaine. Like I say later on for the deck, you gotta play it because it turbos your monsters into Heat Soul. All of your other Mathmech monsters and your Cybers monsters are not water, so they're fire, light, earth, anything like that, wind, dark, so it makes Heat Soul really easy to summon. It just summons a monster from your graveyard, which is just strong because then you go into Heat Soul and you draw a card. You didn't lose any advantage from it. Card's absolutely insane. I don't know why they printed this card either. Yeah, just you have to play at least one. Code Talker, in case you can't get to Heat Soul, you have at least a Code Talker in the field, gains 500 attack. Also can't be destroyed by battle or card effects while it points to a monster. It doesn't have to be your opponent's monster, it doesn't have to just be your monster. So if it points to something, it'll gain that 500 attack, which is really good. Protects itself from battle, so they can't just attack over it to get rid of the Signet Conflict. Yeah, play one. It also procs your microcoder to go and summon or search either your Signet Conflict or Signet Mining. Yeah, you just gotta play one. I wouldn't play the other one, Cyber or Code Talker Inverse or whatever, inverted, because it requires 2 Cyber monsters rather than 2 effect monsters. And it doesn't have like a super relevant effect either. And then IP Masquerena, one of the best Cyber Link monsters ever printed, arguably the best, besides maybe Axis Code Talker, protects your monsters by card effects, which again, relevant because of Wicked, relevant just on its own because that's really hard to get over a lot of these monsters if you're removing your opponent's monsters from their board. You can also link someone into Appaloosa, or even just sit on an Axis Code Talker with Wicked. crazy that I'm saying that, but honestly, Silent Conflict plus Super Factorial with a potentially 5,000 or 5,300 beater turn 2 you gotta deal with. It's kind of scary. Not gonna lie, some of these cards are just absolutely insane with the toolbox effect. One of the cards you can cut theoretically is Nightmare Unicorn. This is paired with IP Masquerade, and it just turns any of your Xyz monsters, anything like that, into material extra disruption. So you have IP Masquerade plus Lipulation, disrupting your opponent's board, and then you chain them. Cool, gets it off the field. Now you have Nightmare Unicorn, theoretically cuttable. Same with Appaloosa later on. But of course, the crack cocaine cards also are Transcode Talker, Heat Soul, and Access Codes. These are your Link 3 and higher Code Talkers. Transcode Talker, I've loved this card since playing Salmon Great. It just revives the monster for free. So you can go Splash Mage into this, and then revive Splash Mage, and then either extend from there, or summon Access Code Talker, because you just can anyway, or go Heat Soul. Anything you want. Like I said, these cards are just toolboxes. You basically do whatever you want with this deck because it can summon basically anything for free. And of course, Heat Soul you draw basically once per turn. The effect to summon a Link 3 or lower Cyber's monster does not come up too often, but sometimes you'll have it. And it's just a better Decode Talker with this. Still gains 500 attack to each monster points too. So sometimes it'll be 2,800 and plus the counter trap. Really hard to get over. And then of course, Access Code Talker, this card's just insane. It's another Code Talker too. So again, you can sit on this with your Silent Conflict. And then Appaloosa. Appaloosa is a card you can cut, but it's okay to have going second. You go main phase and then activate Super Factorial to play around something like DD Crow or Ghost Spell. Just options too. Really, the two you can definitely get rid of if you wanted to are Appaloosa and Nightmare Unicorn to play something like, I don't know, Transcode or Update Jammer for the Update Jammer, Transcode Talker, OTK. Those are always possible. Bunch of possibilities. You can main deck the Lingaribo, which brings us to the side deck. Lingaribo is just for the trap decks. I mean, Impermanence. It's not really a huge threat in this deck, just because Cyber's type has Lingaribo, and people should know that. It's really hard to play some of the powerful traps with this card because it just negates effects just for free as a Link 1. I'm kind of busting that right. And of course, the triple token collector. This card does not hurt us at all, even though we have a monster, Link Devotee, that summons tokens. It does not hurt if they kill it because we'll still have another monster. Generally speaking, it doesn't hurt us to summon this at all because we can still summon monsters that are not Cybers with Super Factorial. Yeah, you should just play this anyway. It's also a level 4, so you can go into your own Allen version, or link into, I don't know, IP Masquerena, something like that later on. Code Talker 2 into Transcode Talker or Heat Soul, something like that. The card's insane. You have to play it anyway. You can't mill it off course with Circular. That'd be kind of insane. But there are some cute tech cards to play with this, just to see it and to mill it. Then we have the Bell, Nibiru, and Ghost Ogre. You can cut these for something like Crossout or Triple Tactics Talents if you wanted to. Honestly, I may go that route. This was Nick's list. He's going to go ahead and showcase some of the combos with me in just a few minutes. Yeah, I think these are fine to play though. It really depends on your event, and that's usually always going to be the correct answer for these, is just to know or anticipate what your event is going to be like and then build from there. Triple Twin Twisters, this card's insane, especially in this deck. The discard does not matter in this deck because just everything searches or summons or does whatever you want for free. That's basically the deck just does everything you want, just for back row removal, which sometimes you can struggle with. You can also play something like Dark Ruler No More, again, Triple Tactics Talents, or Crossout, anything like that. And Harpy's Feather Duster, Red Reboot do the same thing there, just to get rid of those pesky back row cards. Basically, the Stun Eldritch deck, really the only thing we're worried about is something like Gozen, or there can be only one, because we play different types of monsters, and then all the same different attributes, all the same type. Some of those floodgates do hurt us, but that's okay. We have a bunch of back row. We're more likely to see, at least one of these disruptions than they are to see at least one of their floodgates. And then Rivalry, you don't have to play this card either, but I think this card's just so insane versus a lot of the Adventure decks, and a lot of the DPE decks. But yeah, let's go ahead and go see some of these combos. We're going to show off some 1-card combos and 2-card combos, just so you guys get a better understanding of how it goes. Eventually, once this deck kind of gets closer to release in TCG in the beginning of August, we're going to go ahead and showcase this. I will have an in-person deck profile then. Again, it's like 4 months from the time of recording, about maybe 3.5 at this point, but we will show this off. I really like this deck. I like Settlement Great. I didn't love it. I played a lot of it, but this is a deck that I could get behind because I love the level 4s. I love having a rank 4 toolbox. I love just being able to play a bunch of hand traps while still playing, like, 1 or 2 card combos that you play 3 of. Search with 3 of. Desires is exactly why I love Sword Soul. You just make effectively rank 4s in the form of level 8 synchros. So that makes sense. And then do whatever you want with them. Infinite toolbox, utility. I love those kind of decks. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of these combos and show you guys exactly how to kind of think about this deck and how to play it. So we're going to go ahead and go into kind of what these combos are, sometimes when you'll use them, because it really depends on your hand, the thought process behind them, and really what these cards or these combos lose to. So this is the first one. This is just Circular on its own, and this card is just absolutely insane. Let's go ahead and see this. So Nick, so you start off with just the Gazelle effect, special summon it by milling a Mathmech monster, and you go into Sigma. This card is even crazier now. This is one of the best cards in the deck now. It gets even more insane. Yeah.
You trigger Circular since you summon a Mathmech, and then you get to make a rank 4. So you summon the one that adds any Mathmech card. So you get to add Diameter since you didn't get to use your normal summon yet. It's kind of cracked. The Circular is basically just Musician Souls. That's also Rhoda, so it's kind of broken. Diameter summons back, and unfortunately this line kind of like quote unquote loses to the Nibiru, but you still do end on like the trap card, so like there is still some counterplay, and this is all off just one card, so you would have went +1 off of just Circular.
If you have the 2 level 4s, for example, theoretically you could summon another Alan Bershin and then not use its effect to add, but you can just keep it on board. Say you have more extenders like going second, and then keep the Diameter negate, which is pretty good too. But even just like turn 1, this is still pretty solid. This feels like a lot more mid-range deck rather than a combo deck. And being able to use the Link Devotee and Link Disciple is nice too. And Super Factorial is Tri-Brigade Revolt before that card came out. Really, really fun deck to use. And this, I mean, just being able to summon a Link 4 as well, just off of it, is also nice.
So yeah, you summon the Disciple, the Devotee, you draw a card, plus thing on the bottom, summon 2 tokens, make Wicked Kid, and then you get to use the token and the XYZ since you don't have like an Omni Negate to summon the IP, which triggers the Wicked to banish a Cyberse to add a Diameter for follow-up. And then off of your 1 Circular, you end on Wicked plus IP. So the Wicked can be destroyed in general, and then the IP can't be destroyed by card effects. So on your opponent's turn, you can either make IP or Appaloosa, and then you have the trap card for 3, which summons the Trish like card. That's like, and it'll have an Omni Negate because you have Diameter under it. So like off of 1 card, this is like insane.
Yeah.
So and
even though that it does, like you said, it does play into Nibiru really hard. At worst, you have Super Factorial.
I mean, it's not even like that terrible, because if you think about it, this is all off literally 1 card, and then you're gonna still end on Super Factorial. So even through Nibiru, you are still removing the Nibiru, ripping a card out of the hand, and ending on a negate. Yeah. And you still have 4 other cards in your hand. Yep. So that's insane.
Could be anything else. Those could even be, cross out. Those could be more hand traps, anything like that, or extenders if you wanted to play through it too. And the interesting thing is that because it's Wicked, traditionally. Not that it's been played too much in the format previously, but with IP Masquerena and Ghost Ogre in the same format, this actually protects your IP Masquerena, like you said, from being destroyed by card effects. Normally, if you chain Ghost Ogre to Masquerena, it's destroyed. It doesn't resolve its effect properly. But because Wicked protects it, it will resolve properly.
That is, I mean, it's like the 1 card combo that I find that I do a lot, and I mean, it works really well. I mean, this is literally off 1 card, so yeah. I think our next combo is going to be Mathmech Circular plus Diameter.
The 2 silver guys.
Yep. So you're going to start off with Circular. Almost all Circular combos are going to start off setting Sigma, since it's the only one that summons itself from the graveyard.
I mean, this card is just crazy that it can just set up anything. And like you said, it's a Rhoda for some reason. And you got your your one monster automatically sets itself up to get that Rhoda, which is just, I mean, insane.
Yeah, and then you summon Diameter, summon the Sigma back. This time you'll have a negate on the XYZ, so it'll be there the whole combo. Obviously to protect the rest of your combo. You get to search for any Mathmech card again, so you're just gonna search any extender, probably like Subtraction, Addition, or the spell. Probably just Subtraction or Addition though, since you can just hold the spell for Circular for next turn if you need an extender.
And for those who don't know, even if you detach it, it still gained the effect because it was used as material. So say for the entire turn, basically, you have Alimbersion to negate that effect, which is also just insane. A lot of people don't actually know that. This deck was really kind of overlooked once it released here in the TCG because nothing really happened to it. Diameter is really good support for the deck. And then I think Circular almost pushes it to, like, meta relevance. It really
I think it's going to be meta relevant. I don't know. I feel like in my testing it's been really good. So yeah, you're just going to do the same thing you did last time.
Especially if like Destroyer Phoenix Enforcer's out of the format, if Adventure, the whole Adventure Engine's out of the format, I could definitely see this. Again, this is just off of like 1 or 2 cards. And some of the monsters that you play aren't like real bricks because they can special summon themselves from the hand. That's like Subtraction and Addition's main 2 effects, is that they special summon themselves by modulating attack or defense.
Yeah, and then you're basically going to do the exact same setup as you did the first replay, except this time you end with the XYZ since it was an Omni Negate, which is like insane still because your whole combo just got protected through hand traps practically, and you didn't really commit. Like you committed 2 cards, so like this is still insane.
Yep, and then we have another 2-card combo. This one is with Parallel Exceed, again because it becomes a level 4 special summoned by its own effect or by the effect of Parallel Exceed. Just plays really well with all the Mathmech cards, and at worst, if you were to play something like Monster Born, you could Reborn it, cool, and that's level 8. And if you guys play the level 12 Synchro, you could make it too, if you really wanted to.
Yeah, it's also like the bet. If you do play Small World, your Parallel Exceed's like a perfect bridge for all the Mathmech since it's not level 4 and it doesn't have share any of the attack or defense or attributes. And then you're just gonna do the same thing as you did the other 2 couple. Combos. You're just gonna search the trap, summon the rank 4.
It's always basically gonna be the main play. This deck feels a lot like Madolche, but with a much higher ceiling for the monsters you can summon. Because Madolche doesn't end on super strong monsters with powerful effects. They can kind of just float for each turn and then set up a negate. But this deck feels like a more advanced version. It feels like a mix of Tri-Brigade and Madolche.
Yeah, it's right. And my testing has been really fun and like just like you just play so well into hand traps since like no one ever wants to negate like any like if you negate Diameter and I still have a level 4 in the field, I'm still gonna play the game and I still am having a negate.
Yeah,
so like negating Diameter sucks.
Search too. Just being able to play really into like 2 or 3 hand traps is what this deck seems to really be good at doing, as well as having the toolbox of Cyberse monsters because there are a bunch of like generic Cyberse monsters that are kind of crazy.
So in this combo, since we did open like one of the 2 extenders I play, you get to end on Heat Soul, and so this combo's instead of Wicked, you went on Heat Soul, which is cool since it lets you draw 2, and I play a lot of hand traps, so you just draw into more defensive cards. And like I said, this is off a 2-card combo, and you're still ending on the trap card, which is like insane, plus IP and 2 draws, which is like, I mean, you just get so much advantage off your 2-card combo. You should have like 4 cards in hand so it's just insane.
So then you can use like Heat Soul during your end phase, or if they have Nibiru, you chain it to Nibiru. Beginning of your opponent's turn, you draw another card, so you could potentially have 5 cards in hand with that second draw, and then if they Regeki, anything like that, Lightning Storm for some reason, you will still be able to go like Chain Masquerena, summon your Xyz monster in defense, get its effect to send cards from the hand or field, and have your Xyz monster protected. It's also nice that Heat Soul's only 3, theoretically because of an access code. But the fact that you can just naturally go into basically any of your Cyberse links without real restrictions is super nice. And then again, this is a 2-card investment, which I think all 3 ofs. It seems like, so the Parallel Exceeds.
Yeah, all the like Mathmech cards are basically all 3 ofs except for I find I only like 2 Sigma since you don't really want to draw Sigma with Circular since you're going to be sending it off Circular always.
Yeah.
So I just play as a 2 of.
It's like
but everything else is a 3 of.
It's like the Spinny of the deck. Sounding great. Spinny.
Yeah.
And of course Circular. It's so easy to compare that to Gazelle, and honestly, this might even be almost a better Gazelle because you get to add a card as well as Foolish. You can't Foolish Mathmech spells or traps, but you don't want to anyway. You just want to add them off of Alimbertion or off of your other guys, your Sigma. Or not Sigma, excuse me, Circular.
So yeah, it's just like you do like very little investments and you just get a lot out of them, and it's just really hard to stop through hand traps on top of that.
And it's nice that this guy can also Circular can also search the Reborn, because the Reborn wasn't really good before, wasn't really playable because it was not super easy to get.
I mean, yeah, it's just a free body, and most of the time, Subtraction Edition are already doing that. So if you're searching off the rank 4, like, there's no reason to play the card because you're already playing Addition and Subtraction, and they do the same thing.
And but at least the fact that you can do it is nice. And then so the last combo is with Microcoder, and this is kind of where the Heat Soul Turbo decks that's what they try and do, is just to set up the Signet Conflict plus whatever they have, and then draw into stuff with Heat Soul. This deck definitely takes Heat Soul to its limits because you're drawing and having combo cards and having negates to actually do something. So I think Heat Soul is very good in this deck compared to a lot of other Cybers decks. Yeah,
it's just real nice that like Circular plus any of these Cybers extenders is just so much. And like I said, like if they're hand trapping Circular, like I don't even know how. Like if you're invalidating the normal, the fact that I have the trap card, you're still gonna like play the game because you can just summon the rank 4, still get a search off. So that's like insane to me.
Yeah, there's not really a great place to hand trap because once you get Diameter on the field, the Diameter you search off of Alimbertion, you can't do anything about it really. You have to have 2 or 3 hand traps to maybe play the game.
Yeah, it's just really funny. I wish the negate was like permanent, but obviously that would probably be insane. But
yeah, and the fact you're going to use this card is crack cocaine for Cybers decks. Basically every Cybers deck plays it now, but the fact that Splash Mage just doesn't do anything against you really because you're playing Cybers anyway, and you still get Heat Soul and Masquerena, and the counter trap now, kind of crazy.
Yeah, so this is all off, like Circular, which is like you play infinite copies of. And yeah, so I mean, yeah, another 2-card investment. You're ending on IP, 2 draws off the Heat Soul, the counter trap, and the trap card. So like, you just got like what 1, 2, 3 interactions plus 2 draws. Like that's insane. On top of you're gonna have the negate that you get off the XYZ, so it's like 4 interactions, and you get to rip a card.
Yep, and this is super important right now. Signet Conflict. Really interesting. I know I covered it previously. It's negate the activation, banish it, and then if you do, your opponent can't activate cards or effects of those cards with the same original name as that card. So like Rite of Aramesir, Branded Fusion, Branded Red potentially, anything like that, they can't use them anymore. Basically for the rest of the game, because next turn you probably kill them. If you play something like Update Jammer into Axis Code Talker or Trans Code Talker too, same routes. Yeah, it's a little insane. It's kind of impressive when you have this opening specifically, and again, just off of 2 cards, you still have defensive cards. You have plenty of room for those. Not really easy to play through this at all.
Yeah, the trap card is kind of like insane because, like I said, it's like 3. You basically get so much advantage off that, and like your opponent shouldn't be able to like come back off that, especially when you have so like hand traps in hand, because I do play like 12 hand traps, so that's insane.
Mm-hmm.
So like even this plus like any hand trap.
Like you're not.
Yeah, I don't really give.
Like the Branded Retribution, you have to give up your fusion. Usually you use this effect first anyway, but you don't have to give up anything. You can still just go. You could theoretically just go into Axis Code Talker by using Masquerade as effect if you really wanted to, and still have that Signet Conflict live because you just need a Code Talker, which of course Heat Soul is a Code Talker. You don't give up anything to do these things, so really you can just have your 1 or 2 card combo and then play the rest of your hand out.
And like if you just get a next turn, you just need to summon Transcode, and Transcode can summon back Heat Soul, which can either make Axe Code or you just grind with that, and like it's just really cool. And like I said, most of these combos, like the last 2, even if you get like the Beerud, since you don't have the negate, you still end on the trap card. Like I said, the trap card is insane, and the extender that you would like have like It does suck, but like you're still ending on a negate and a rip, so like it's not terrible. But
and you can play cards like Link Spider to go into, I think, some of your Link 2s. I believe one of the Link 2s is generic. Let's see.
Yeah, Wicked Kid.
Wicked's generic. I think the other, what is
Like,
it? There's another Code Talker Link 2. Not Code Talker inverted. That one requires 2 Cyberus monsters.
Code Talker's 2 effect monsters.
Oh yeah. So then you can go into like Link Spider plus an extender and still have at least a Code Talker monster, so your Cyanide Conflict is live, and you still have Super Factorial, which then rips the card. So theoretically, you could still play through it too, which
so yeah, like
kind of crazy.
If you wanted to like hold the Parallax Seed to like see if you get nibbed, you can summon Link Spider, summon the Parallax Seed, summon 2 level 4s, and then you can technically summon a Wicked.
Yep.
Or you just like and then like summon like the Voti if you didn't summon it. Or it's just like you can do like weird things like that, but I don't play Link Spider because I really haven't gotten nibbed and like wanted this, since the trap card alone is usually just enough for me to be content. But yeah, it's been like this deck just seems really strong, and like no one's talking about it, which is cool because I'd rather keep this on the low. But I think Mathmechs are on the up and up.
I think it definitely has a lot of positive interaction, a lot of things going for it, considering Circular. It's just, this card just does so much, and like I said before, Diameter was insane. Circular is just like the next level. This is a custom card basically for the deck. It's probably one of the best like support cards ever introduced for a theme. Just flat out, it just does everything you wanted it to do. The attack restriction, of course, doesn't matter turn 1. Even turn 2, you just overwhelm them anyway. If you're clearing the field with Access Code Talker, Access Code Talker can attack twice if you use something like Update Jammer. So that restriction just doesn't even matter. I guess that's the idea, is that you just go Access Code Talker instead. And again, you have the rest of the Cyberus toolbox at the very worst to control the board, which beyond insane. Yeah, this was an insane combo line. A bunch of really nice combos. I'm sure there are going to be more the more people kind of test this deck out and see which generic Cyberus cards integrate the best with it. But yeah, be on the lookout for this deck. We are going to feature this probably at some locals and events, playing it once this comes out in August 2022 for the TCG. One of us will be playing it at least, because I do have a lot of faith in this deck. And by then, there's going to be a completely different metagame, because by then, I'm sure Adventure is going to be hit. By then, I'm sure Destroyer, Phoenix, and Force will be dead. Tins will be coming out soon afterwards, and that'll be kind of be priming for a huge new format. That should be after the, if we get Nationals this year or something like that. But yeah, be on the lookout for that stuff. I definitely want to test this deck more. I want a lot more replays with this, because this deck is just, it looks fun. It's just fun to play, because it's just a bunch of level 4s. A bunch of toolbox cards you can play. Always love those kind of decks.
Yeah, it's really cool. Hopefully there's like a lot of Cybers piles that'll probably play this card, since like even in pure Cybers, this card is like 3 free bodies, since you can just add the spell card, which is insane without your normal summon. So I'm sure like Cybers decks in the future will probably play this card no matter what. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's like the old Code Talker combo deck where you just summoned, you did the extra link, and then you just play a bunch of random Cybers cards, including like 2 or 3 Gazelle, 1 Spinny, just something like that. You could toolbox really this into any kind of Cybers deck. That's what all the Cybers cards do, is they try to play off of each other. That's what they've done for the past, almost 5 years now.
Which is like the coolest thing ever to me, because I just really like Cybers cards. So yeah, hopefully they become meta one day outside of just Cybers Gadget as an engine.
No, yeah, they really haven't done that for too many types beyond like Dragon Link, kind of Warriors, and kind of Worms with Sword Soul, but really this is like the first type that's just that basically all the support is focused on doing just one thing, which is spamming the board. And that's kind of the theme of Yu-Gi-Oh! Reigns, is just to spam the board with Link monsters and Cybers monsters. Yeah, shout out to Nick, because he has played this deck a lot, even before Circular was announced. We've played it a bunch. Played versus it a bunch just for fun, and we're all excited now to kind of see this deck really take off. I think it's going to take off, especially over here. Maybe not Japan, because they have a different game, but definitely here I can see it.
Yeah, I don't know. Circular is just so much off of just one card, and like you could, I mean, it's a 1-card heat soul, which is like alone like insane. So, well, yeah, hopefully see some play.
Yeah, if you guys like this video, please, of course, be sure to subscribe. We will go ahead and feature this on some matches just to test it with the current ban list. it's not going to be the same format. It's not going to be, you know, really current format. It'll be theoretically for the future. But yeah, I'm excited to feature this deck. So this is Eric and Nick with OzoneTCG. We will see you guys in the next one.